Alright guys, how are you? Hope you're well. I felt kind of dumb here. I was sitting recording away, got up to hit the stop button, and phone screen was black, battery was dead. So I just went in, grabbed an old phone. Whatever it is, what it is. Didn't feel like fooling with an old DSLR camera this afternoon. Thought I'd just shoot a little extra video, got a little extra time here, and it's about turned winter here just for the day. I think it's going to warm back up through the week, but really, really cold. We've had a fire all day and all night last night, but a little more on the Lombard. I'd got this thing together. I didn't have an electronic ignition chip, but the point set up that's in it's working fine. This is a saw that doesn't need turned up real hot. It has like a 38.5mm stroke. If you'll refer back to the video where I showed the saw tore down. Very, very long connecting rod. I would never want this thing to turn any serious RPMs anyway. So with what we're doing with this saw and what it is, what's there will work just fine. She's starting easy. Seems to run good once it's warm. It's just one of those deals where I fix it if it ain't broke. If it was something we would feel safer revving a little higher out, you know, we'd order a good chip and put in it. But, you know, 10,000, 10.5 on this. It's probably about all she needs to see. But, anyway, where we're at, I'd made some cuts on a short and a small piece of hardwood. First off, that chain, that one came off where it was set up for Krusty to cut cookies with. We were cutting cookies in hardwood, but, you know, that saw's a whole different animal than this. It is smaller in displacement, but, you know, had a ton of machine work. It's over 200 PSI. It's a 14,000 plus RPM build, which is just on a whole different level than this. You know, it's a modern saw. Modern compared to this, but not modern in sense to what it is. And Krusty's a 365 special. There's video on it all over the channel. It was just a hodgepodge of old busted up and junk parts that most people would have thrown into a parts bin. But I don't do that. I hang on to everything. My wife and kids say I'm a hoarder, but one man's junk's another man's gold, or whatever, treasure. But anyway, I've been tuning around on this thing, and I had carburetor problems. Once I got it back going, it ended up having a mismatched diaphragm and meter and lever. There was other issues, but we had a parts unit. I ended up pulling the carb off of it and going through it, and as of right now, it all seems well. This is a pyramid style, but it's not like a home light, or not like an old Super XL or XL12 or something where it's in the carb box. The reeds are actually in the crankcase themselves. I didn't even pull them out, but I did show what they looked like on camera. And with that said, you're never ever going to get one of these to sit and act and perform like a modern saw. That's why modern saws went away from all of this. You know, if it's got little hiccups and it acts funny, after years and years of doing this stuff, it's just the nature of the beast. And especially when you go in and go to tweaking things, you know, it's going to hinder how the saw performs or operates. But anyway, it was basically a base gasket delete with some mild port work. We did massage the lowers a little bit. They wasn't hogged or anything. We did go in and widen and clean up the uppers a little bit, and we widened and cleaned up the exhaust port what little we could. But and I did do a very minimal, about 4 degrees ignition timing advance. And the muffler is just like completely open. That circle you see with the fins, that thing's just a big empty can. It's super loud. You really should have hearing protection to run this old relic. I do have it leaned out some more than what we had last week when I made the cuts. That's what I've been in there doing. I had to fix the ignition switch wiring. That's working awesome now. This is a manual oiler only. It's not a primer or anything. I was just shooting a little oil to the bar before we fired it up and went to spinning the chain. And what that chain is, it's a Oregon EXL with my grind on it and with the drag set. I think the softwood settings. So I don't really have any softwood here that I know of, but we'll get some of this wood out back. I'm pretty sure it's a mulberry or something in that species of tree because it is just hard as flint. The longer it sits, seems the harder that damn thing gets. But we'll go out back. I'll bring you guys back when I get something set up, and we'll make a few more cuts and then wrap this build up. Alrighty guys, I think that'll work. That's a pretty good sized piece of wood. I probably should have checked the bar oil on this thing. But let's see if she'll make a cut in that. Locked up. Alrighty guys, that cut in the log splitter there, that was cutting it close. That log's done. It probably, there's just enough of it that the ram in the splitter has it held, and there probably wasn't, they might have been 2 inches of overhang. Really wasn't wanting to get that chain into the splitter because It's a chain I spent a little bit of time on. It's a really good cutting chain, but anyway, with that said, in the softer wood, I may make that video too, hard wood versus soft wood. Maybe it'll shed some light, you know, on some of this. I know people will see other YouTubers that's way up north or in the Pacific Northwest. They don't have the wood we have here. And I'm saying that as humble as I can. You know, it's just not. It's not as dense. It's not as hard. You know, it's a lot easier to cut. I don't know if it's got to do with things growing on the side of mountains here or what, but the wood's just a lot more dense. But with that said, it was about what was expected, and I'm telling you, you have to keep the oil pumped to this thing. Anytime you seen it slow down in the harder wood out back and then see it immediately speed up, that's when I was really, really laying the oil to it. Just a pump every now and then, just not going to do it. In the hard, pitchy wood, you've got to keep it pumped to it constantly. But with that said, for what it is, it's not a bad old relic. I'm pretty sure me and Simple Man had talked, or for you proper folks, Simple Man and I, he's going to set this up with a bow on it. That'll be pretty cool, honestly. But with that said, this has been a fun little project, something I've never been into, but honestly, if you run across one and you've tinkered with like an old XL12 or a Super XL, there's some differences, but it's minimal. But I don't know if any parts interchange or not. I doubt it, but you know, they're not hard to work on is what I'm getting at. Just take note at where you pulled things off from. Most of the bolts, screws are identical. When they'll go back in about any place you want to stick them, I guess. But anyway, guys, with that said, I'll quit boring you all with my rambling and get these saws cleaned up where I've got it, the 200T, and it's 55. We're actually going down to visit early next month and just going to clean them up and take them home as I go. But anyway, guys, there's a lot coming on this channel. Tomorrow you'll probably see the port work and what little machining I done on the 357 build, or 359, 357 build. Kind of went a little more simplistic on it than I originally had planned, but I think at the end of the day, she's going to be a pretty nasty little saw. If not, we give it our best, and it is what it is. But anyway, guys, y'all have a good one.